So our next speaker is Tricia Mason Parsad. She is a leadership expert, growth catalyst, consultant, coach, dynamic facilitator, and now best-selling author. And our book is now at number 5. I feel like this is like a sports score because our book is now number 5. So it's climbing. So welcome.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, I have nervous energy running through my body right now. So I want to take a moment and say thank you to my family and friends who are here with me this evening. I don't think I told anyone, gave them more than a week and a half notice about this because I just wasn't sure where I was going, if I would hide under a rock or show up. So thank you for being with me. I really appreciate that, including Tony and Jen giving up part of your anniversary to be with Kim and I tonight. We appreciate that. So, have you ever taken on a role where you've given it your all, but you felt unseen, unheard, and unsupported? That was me. And I write about it extensively in the book in chapter 25, Becoming Happy, 30 Ways to Heal Your Mind, Body, and Soul. I'm Tricia Mason Parsad, and I'm a leadership development consultant, executive coach, and facilitator, and perhaps, maybe, we'll see, maybe a budding speaker. For 25 years, I've worked with leaders and teams, really attempting to create spaces where people feel safe, valued, and empowered. But I didn't always feel that way along my career journey. And it was actually a pivotal moment for me to build a foundation to how I do work today in organizations. Years ago, I accepted a role, excited, optimistic, hopeful, a new opportunity. It didn't take long before I realized that I had walked into a really unsupportive environment full of extreme criticism and harsh judgment. And it wasn't only directed at me, but at my peers. I decided, despite all of that, I'm going to do my best work, show up, and deliver. Yet I felt invisible at times, as if my contributions didn't matter. Every day felt like walking on eggshells into that building, not knowing what was going to be said or done to chip away at my confidence. Eventually, it took such a toll on me, mentally, emotionally, that my well-being was at stake, and I couldn't be my best self for my family or in my personal life in general. So I had to make a decision: stay in a role that was diminishing who I was at my core and draining me of my joy, or making a change. I decided to leave. And while it was a difficult decision for me to make because I wasn't used to feeling like I had to make a choice so abruptly, it was the best decision I ever made because it served as a catalyst and a foundation for how I do my work today. My basis when I work with clients is to ensure that psychological safety, thank you Dr. Amy Edmondson out there for coining the phrase, and connection are a core part of my work. Maybe as you sit here and you listen to me, you can relate where you've taken on a role, you felt invisible, you felt silenced, you didn't feel like your contributions were really taken into account. Or maybe you're on the flip side, maybe you're a leader who struggles with connecting with your people because perhaps you haven't been able to build trust and engage them. But I'm here to tell you, we all at some point in our life, or at least most of us, experience one or the other. The good news is there is a way forward. And I have 3 practical tips that I didn't even mention in my chapter that I came up with that I wanted to share with you tonight if you are interested in building a stronger sense of psychological safety in your relationships and connection. Number 1, psychological safety is the foundation of transforming relationships. And what that means is I feel like I can be myself, or you feel like you can be yourself, sharing your thoughts, ideas, experiences, wanting to contribute at a higher level, taking risks, admitting mistakes even, knowing that you can bring your full, authentic, genuine, best self, and you're not going to be judged. I've seen it at play in teams that are really strong, that have that foundation, and what I see is people being able to say, I don't know, I need help, I made a mistake. And in my book, I go into great detail around my chapter, not my book. I go into great detail around a client that I worked with, along with my own experience that I just shared with you. And it was, we were able to utilize that moment where she didn't feel psychologically safe with her own team and turn it into a growth opportunity for her. Number 2, connection requires intentionality. It doesn't just happen by mistake. We literally have to put in the time and energy to be intentional, to reach out to people, to express interest and be curious, to listening for both thoughts and feelings, to show them that we are there when they need us, to express empathy and walk alongside them, and to create the moments where people feel seen, heard, and valued. It's something that I work on consciously at the very onset of working with clients to ensure that I create connection, because I've seen the power of how it can transform cultures in organizations, starting with the individual leader and their teams. Thirdly, leading with courage creates ripple effects. And what I mean by that is it takes courage to actually try to establish psychological safety and connection, because we don't know how people will receive us. Some people are more guarded than others, so it might take more time to actually build that relationship. But what I know is when we take the time and we're able to be courageous, people usually follow. And in our vulnerability, if we're authentic, it becomes contagious. Think about it. When people share something that you are caught off guard by and surprised, it helps you lower your own defense mechanisms, because now you feel like, oh, you're not perfect, neither am I. I can share something with you. The late Maya Angelou once said, and she said a lot of good things, but she once said, people will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but people never forget how you made them feel. And I live by that. At my core, I believe psychological safety and connection are the foundation to transformation. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the approach I take or the experiences I had, I think that was my mother. Delve into chapter 25, where I share in great detail, and look for the inferences that you can pull, because I'm not as explicit as I think maybe some of my author friends are. In my stories, look for what you could be doing and look for what you should not be doing to ensure that you have that in your life and in your relationships. And if you enjoy what you've read, stay in touch. I'm at tmpleadership.com or on LinkedIn. And ultimately, what I want you to remember is when we prioritize psychological safety and connection in our relationships, it can transform not just those relationships, but organizations and communities at large. Thank you for letting me share with you this evening.